All right. Thank you so much, Nadia, for the kind introduction. Hello, everyone, and good evening and good afternoon to all of you, and also good afternoon for the people like who might be traveling from long places and coming here, and have been also jet lagged. So, kudos to all of you. So today, what I'm going to be discussing mostly about is around the reimagining the AI agent economy. I know a lot of folks are building into AI agents. Before I get started, let's see is like how many of you are building in AI agent space. Amazing. So most of you are gonna love this session, and the people like who are not and who are planning to, for you also there is a lot to take from this session today, where I'll be talking about how you can basically think about the agents, how they can be more programmable, autonomous, and utilize the decentralized infrastructure to power everything from grounds up. So to get started, let me introduce myself. I have been building into the space for quite a long, like in Web3 alone for 5 years, but overall I have around 12 years of experience building the different solutions, designs, and everything. So if you ever get into design problems, feel free to reach me out. I'll be more than happy to support you in solving those. Coming back to, before I jump into any of those discussions, let me first highlight and give you a quick dose around like what is this agent ecosystem basically looks like today, and where are we currently, and what these agents basically do in reality. So if you look at those numbers, I think there are folks from virtual who are also here. A lot of those agents are like combining from different ecosystem, and it is not all. That is the reason I wrote 20,000 plus plus. The reason being because we have only chosen some of the ecosystem to kind of take a look, and it was around close to around 20,000 plus agent which was launched. And combining them, we have more than around $15 billion market cap. It's huge if you look at the numbers and the time span in which these agents came into the market and the amount they have captured as a value. Now, if you look at on the bottom side, what these agents basically do are two different things. The one is to do the sit posting around there on Twitter, like generally that is what we do. And second thing is like swap, send tokens, and do a couple of device stuff if it is completely centralized. Now, coming back to some of the folks who are not into the agenting structure, like agent framework structure, this is for you. So if you look at agents, any agents today, they are basically divided into three verticals. The one is intelligence, where we call it planning and processing. What does that basically means? There is an LLM and all of those data ingestion and all of those things which you do. And then after that happens, then there is a next flow which comes in the logic is called logic execution. So essentially, let's say I want to order a pizza or want to swap a token. That's a logic which is getting executed after the planning and processing of it. And the third and the most important part is the wallet part, where either these agents control the wallet or you control the wallet. It depends like which kind of agent which you are building now. Now, if we look at very closely in both of those verticals, basically like around the intelligence and the logic, what you will realize that both of them are currently on a centralized infrastructure, whatever we call it, as a decentralized one. And the biggest challenge which we at Spheron and all of us basically look at is the problem of the censorship, right? So imagine what happens. So I don't know like how many of you have ever seen a lot of censorship which happened in this space in the past couple of years, where certain tokens was not allowed to swap, certain things was happened, and there were people like who got caught. A lot of things happens in this space, right? And how can we ensure that this doesn't happen? That's where we need to ensure that from day zero, we all are just going on a decentralized systems. And if you are doing the centralized one, this is how it exactly looks like. So whatever you do, you can be always plugged off, and bad thing can happen with you and your community. Now again, this flow, most of the AI developers here or people who are deploying the AI agents, they will be well aware of. The flow basically talks about how this agent current deployment basically flow works. So we have this user where the user comes in, he goes and creates basically you need everything, you need compute. So to lease out compute either from centralized marketplace or from decentralized marketplace or wherever you are leasing it out, the current flow is you need an API to basically do that, right? And now once that API basically has been leased to the agent, and then agent basically gets deployed. And after that, now if I ask you to go ahead and build a fully autonomous agent utilizing the same system, I can bet you as a design, you can never build any of those autonomous systems. The reason being is very simple. All of these APIs which are there, they are all the bottlenecks for opening up the system to become more decentralized and autonomous. And that's where we want to kind of change it, and that's where we have been working very closely into multiple research, folks who have been into different space and researching into it. And we came to a point where we thought like how we can make it more robust so that these agents can become fully autonomous and they should be able to self-manage their own infrastructure. Not only that, they should also be helping humans to go ahead and self-coordinate and do some better thing rather than just managing the agents. Now, coming back to, again, challenges, this is what the challenge which I also spoke about. What happens if we go ahead and a centralized approach of deploying the agents? The simple challenge is that you won't be, all the kill switch you are giving on the centralized servers, whenever they want, they can just switch it off and all those stuff will be gone, including your funds and whatever wallet is situated wherever it is. Now, coming to like, this is where we wanted to bring in the agent autonomy to ensure that these agents, whichever we are deploying today, they are able to manage their own infrastructure. They should be able to manage their own funds. They should be able to self-coordinate, self-heal, basically revoke their own access, bring in new systems in, bring the proper communication channels between the agents so that they can transact on behalf of the user autonomously. Now, this is a very good code. I don't know like how many of you have like listened that video. Jensen has spoke about in coming days, what we are going to see is like people will be hiring the HRs to not to manage humans, but they will be hiring HRs to manage the AI agents. I think it's a very good code, but if you look at very closely, it's also very impacting for the human as an evolution as well, right? Because we as a human are meant to innovate more and more, not just to just manage the stuff, right? For AI agents. Now, today we were just managing the humans, which is fine, but managing the agents, it's going to be very, very tricky. So that's where we are currently working on this design, and we are proposing this design to all the AI agent developers who are building into the space to adopt it. The reason being because it's very simple. The first thing first it brings on the table for all the agent developers is you will be able to reduce your DevOps cost to close to around 90%. So what does that basically means? So you literally don't have to hire a DevOps engineer in your team to do the agent management. So all of these agent management will be done on its own. The second thing is, if you look at very closely, all of these agents can self-manage their own infrastructure by just executing on-chain transaction. What does that basically mean? That basically means like now everyone whosoever is building into this space can go and design an agent which can do tons of different things. For example, either it can deploy an agent, it can create a swarm, it can do collective intelligence, it can lease out GPUs or whatever, just by executing a transaction, right? Now, there is no longer a control of a user to the agents. Now these agents are free to perform the tasks whatever they wish to. Now again, there is a lot of time which I receive a question is that, what if these agents go rogue, right? So you as a user can define it. Like for example, we want to fund those agents to perform certain things, but they should be able to perform on their own. And you can pause those malicious activity which these agents can also perform in the future. Now, we have been building this framework for quite a long time, like it's around 6 months now. While everyone was like launching crazily those agents and everything, what we were working at Spheron was to bring a more robust framework which allows any existing agentic frameworks to become fully autonomous. What does that basically mean? That basically means like we are introducing a concept of, I think it's a concept which was already there. The word is called collective intelligence. There are a lot of teams who uses this term. So what we are bringing on the table is the collective intelligence via swarms. So what happens in this case, if you look at very closely into this diagram, there are these multiple agents which are working as a guardians. So what these guardians basically means, they ensure that none of the agents which are like running there, which is the main agent, is going offline. If anything happens to that agent, they basically coordinate together, create a proposal, vote for that proposal, and bring the new agent back online. So essentially what we are building is a completely immortal agents utilizing their own financial economy, right? And that's where we were like proposing and saying that we are looking into how we can reimagine the entire cycle of the agentic framework, and this is how it basically works. Now, if you look at very closely, like it's a collective intelligence DAO, which nobody has yet achieved that. And if anyone is looking forward to take a demo of it, you can always just hit me up. I'll be love to kind of show you the demo. But the essential part here is like if you look at, if we utilize the same model here as a collective intelligence utilizing the main agentic framework, what you will be able to get is the IQ of all the different models which might be running on these guardians. And then depending on that, as a collective decision you can take that if I want to swap this token or not. For example, there's a biggest query today is if you go and give out an agent, which is, it can be any agent, and you give them a transaction ID to execute on your behalf, what happens if that company goes and use that transaction to maliciously do the stuff, right? So we, in this example, there is no custody is given to anyone, including the agents. Agents are performing from the proposal basis, so essentially they don't get any funds, while users, what they can do here is like they can deposit the fund depending on different flows, different plugins. They can execute multiple transactions. So for example, I want to generate a best yield in DeFi, just give me that option, right? And they all work together in collective to ensure that it is getting achieved. So that's what this framework basically talks about, and this is what we call it a Skynet framework. And a lot of time, again, we hear that this Skynet is a bad one. No, this Skynet is the good one. What it does, it basically removes the bottleneck for the DevOps process, introduce the entire full autonomous, and then it just works on its own. You don't have to do anything. Now, coming to the outcome of the design, which we are proposing to everyone, and also asking everyone to kind of go and take a look. That design doesn't require, like unless it's very, very private data which you want to process, it doesn't require any TEs, right? So essentially you are not gonna pay for any expensive computation hours which you are gonna be using. Second thing is like the maintenance cost, right? If you look at very closely, if you have 10,000, 20,000 agents, just imagine the exponential curve around the maintenance of these agents, right? The other thing is like it's all fully permissionless. Essentially that means like nobody is required to regulate or ask you to not to do anything. You can go and do whatever you wish to. The other thing is like automated flow of transaction. Essentially what it means that there's no blockage around the transaction. Like they execute on their own. Till the time they have fun, it just works on its own. And the fifth and the most important part is like you get the IQ of 5 to 10, 15, depending on like how you configure it, IQ of different models. And then depending on that IQ, you execute or achieve a specific consensus to, let's say, I want to swap a token or I should not swap a token, because every model works very differently and they have a different intelligence level, and you can optimize that intelligence level to execute a transaction at a very optimized cost. Yeah, so that is it from my side, and this is our QR code. Would love if you guys want to connect, would love to kind of connect with you all. And apart from that, if you are looking forward to contribute to it, we will be open sourcing it in few days down the line. So feel free to just join our Discord, and we'll be more than happy to get the contribution. And also, any feedback, any queries, any concerns around that, we'll be more than happy to take it forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Prashant.